Today, I am coming with a new topic whether Russian aggression on Ukraine will worsen climate action agreements. After all the energy spent at the Glasgow Climate Summit, are we optimistic about climate action? Whether the spiraling up oil and gas prices in the face of Russian aggression on Ukraine will force the world to burn more coal. Whether channels of open communication will exist at the COP27 Egypt Climate Summit going to be held next year. I am Kochu Baby Manjooran and you are watching SKBM Videos Environmental Series Episode 20. Last year November, the world was focused on climate talks in Glasgow in COP26, the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference. More than 100 world leaders flew down to Glasgow to attend the same. COP stands for Conference of the Parties. The parties refers to the 197 nations that agreed to a new environmental pact, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change or UNFCCC at a meeting in 1992. After 2 weeks of intense negotiations, nearly 200 countries have reached a consensus at the COP26 Climate Summit. The summit had witnessed bold collective commitments to curb methane emissions, to halt and reverse forest loss, align the finance sector with net zero by 2050, ditch the internal combustion engine, accelerate the phase down of coal, and end international financing for fossil fuels. Net zero emission years were declared by Germany and Sweden as 2045. US, UK and European Union committed to 2050. China, Russia and Saudi Arabia committed to 2060 and India in the year 2070. Glasgow Climate Pact thus urges parties to take number of steps to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and to reach net zero by 2050. Because of a last minute intervention by India, an agreement to accelerate the phasing out of coal was watered down in the final communique to the much vaguer phasing down of coal. India has been criticized by several countries for the change promoted by it to phase down rather than phase out coal power, the single biggest source of greenhouse gas emissions. India's per capita coal consumption is half the world average and 1/4 of China's per capita coal consumption. Then why India took the lead for the change is a question raised by many. What the deal did not achieve is the ambitious goal set in the 2015 Paris Climate Accord. The countries had then pledged to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. Even with the current pledges, the world is on track for 2.4 degrees of warming. Now, 4 months after the Glasgow summit, the global energy picture has shifted significantly and not in the direction COP negotiators wanted. Far from declining, coal use globally surged to record levels over the winter, causing emissions to rise. Even before the Russia-Ukraine war began, coal was enjoying a comeback as the surging post-pandemic economic recovery led to high demand for power. That was the case even in countries with lofty environmental goals. Now, the war in Ukraine could boost coal demand even further, at least for a short term. This point was rightly acknowledged by Germany's economy minister Robert Habeck, who said Europe may be forced to burn more coal in the face of Russian aggression and spiraling gas prices. If there is any natural gas shortage, China may also resort to increased domestic coal production, often cited as the last defense for energy security by officials. But at the same time, as coal has been enjoying its great comeback, renewables are struggling. Due to a combination of logistical headache and trade war woes, neither solar nor wind is on track to grow to the required level for a net zero emissions scenario. High energy prices could also make it harder politically for some countries to push through clean energy policies. War can be destructive not only to the socio-environment but also leads to extensive amounts of greenhouse gas emissions, pollution, resource depletion, among other environmental impacts. High levels of military spending diverts resources away from solving environmental problems and away from sustainable development. Military vehicles, aircraft, vessels, etc. all require much oil derived energy and their energy efficiencies are very low. There are also fears of chemical weapon attacks and nuclear radiation leaks. Situations once again proved that our international institutions are weak with little ability to coordinate and tackle international problems. Now, after all the energy spent at Glasgow with the COP26, perhaps we are not as optimistic about climate action. Countries are asked to come back next year to submit stronger 2030 emissions reduction targets with the aim of closing the gap to limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade. Whether channels of open communication will exist at that time, whether it will set the scene for more action or more quarrel in Egypt at the COP27 summit. The truth is that we never treated climate change as an emergency and as an imminent danger, although nearly half of humanity is highly vulnerable to climate change. Really, we need to manage this bumpy road to net zero emissions. We can do this only today, not tomorrow. Remember, climate change is a global challenge that does not respect national borders. Emissions anywhere can affect people everywhere. With this, I am leaving you. Do you find this video informative? If your answer is yes, please like, share and subscribe. Your support is really meaningful to me. Thanks a lot and see you next time with a new topic. A big thank you.